Mike, Joe Thomas, we spoke last week. You asked for a video which gives you a sense around some content. I'm going to focus on 7 habits, give you a couple of insights. You'll have a sense of my teaching style and a little bit about where content can go. So I've drawn on this board 7 habits of highly effective people in the maturity continuum. You may not be able to see all the detail, but I'll walk you through a couple of insights. This is first take, unrehearsed, didn't plan anything out. I just wanted to go with the flow and show you a couple of things that most people may not recognize. So quick reference, 7 habits focuses on a movement from dependence to independence, from independence to interdependence through a series of habits. The first 3 habits defined as the private victory, the next 3 is the public victory, and then the 7th habit, of course, renews the whole thing. Well, one of the insights is this. Habit 1 is the habit of personal vision. A guy named Plato said the beginning of wisdom is the definition of terms. What is vision? Dictionary defines it as the recognition of what can be, or intelligent foresight. Well, habit number 1 is the vision, the recognition that I can be independent. It recognizes I have a choice, I'm the programmer, I'm responsible for my own win, which of course sets me up for the 2nd habit, which is begin with the end in mind. This is the habit of personal leadership. Leadership is defined as guidance, as focus. This is personal leadership, not interpersonal. This is about plotting the course, about setting the path. And these 2 habits combined set us up for the 3rd habit, which is called first things first. That's the habit of personal management. This is all about execution and movement. So be proactive is vision. Begin with the end in mind is leadership. But first things first is management. Vision, leadership, management. I have a choice. I make a choice. I execute the choice. I'm the programmer. I write the program. I run the program. I recognize I have choice. I plot the course of where I want to go to or where I choose to go. I execute my plan. The actualization of productivity is hitting independence. That's probably all stuff that you know. Let's go further. Habit 4. This is the habit of interpersonal vision. Now that's different than in the book. This is interpersonal vision, the recognition of what can be. Habit 1 says I can be independent. Habit 4 says we together can be interdependent. We can achieve something even higher. This sets us up for the 5th habit, seek first to understand and be understood. This is the habit of interpersonal leadership. Again, a different insight than in the book. Interpersonal leadership is to guide. It's all about guidance. It's all about plotting the course together. I seek first to understand someone else's end in mind, help them to understand mine, which sets us up for the 6th habit, synergize, which is all about execution together. Vision, leadership, management. The difference here is this is interpersonal. This is the recognition that we can do something together. This plots the course together. This executes together. Now you notice the similarity between the upper and the lower habits. Well, here's an insight. In my opinion, they are the same habits. Identical. Every insight that you find in any one of these habits immediately applies to its sister habit. So an insight in habit 1 immediately applies to habit 4. An insight in habit 5 immediately applies to habit 2. The difference only is the interpersonal execution or the personal or private execution. It's really the only difference. And there's some cool things that come out of this stuff. Vision inspires me. Leadership guides me. Management moves me. Inspires us, guides us, moves us. Vision, leadership, management. A super theme. Simplistic. So you could go through this. There's so many insights about moving along this chain from dependence where I need others to get what I want, to independence where I get what I want by myself, to interdependence where together we can have more of what we want because we can produce this phenomenon called synergy through the verb synergize. So anyway, here's an additional insight. In habit number 1, Stephen talks about a circle of influence and a circle of concern. Proactive people focus in a circle of influence and it grows, it gets bigger. Whereas reactive people focus in their circle of concern and they shrink the circle of influence. Now this is real simple. The serenity prayer comes to mind. God grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Where do I focus my energy? If I focus my energy on things I can change, my influence grows. If I focus it on things I can't, I'm constantly complaining, my influence shrinks. Well, simple insight, yeah, we all know we should focus there. Here's another insight. What are these type of people? What are these type of people? And what are these type of people? And what are these type of people? So what about people who focus in their circle of concern and have relationships? They got a relationship right there. What about them? What about people who focus in a circle of influence and they have a relationship up here? Well, a simple insight is these people are dependent, these people are independent, and these people are interdependent, which of course becomes the maturity continuum. And these people down here, well, they're codependent. So the ineffective people, there's a whole other realm to this stuff. But habit one, if I live habit one fully, I live it fully, not only personally but interpersonally, I'll live all 7 habits. I'll achieve interdependence. Stephen once taught in a class, and it took me months to figure out exactly what he meant by this. He said that these 7 habits are hologram, that the whole is contained in the part. The whole is contained in the part. And I didn't know what that meant. When I started studying it, if you look at the negative of a hologram, the negative, it actually captures the wave patterns of the light, not the image. And so you can take a fragment, you can take a glass negative, shatter it into pieces, shine a light through any fragment, and reproduce the entire image. And that was the point. I later had a chance to talk to him about that. And he said, yeah, the whole is contained in the part. Live one habit fully, you live them all. Wow, that makes it a little deeper. Some interesting insight. Now, can I find application of this? Absolutely. Can I find some insights on how I conduct my life? Absolutely. There's so much more to this, but there's a quick insight. Now, in the previous model, make the simple point that any insight that applies to habit 1 should apply to habit 4. So, let's take a look at habit 4. In the book, habit 4 talks about this idea of courage and consideration. And the idea is, if I'm really high on courage and have no consideration, I'm win-lose. And if I'm really high on consideration with no courage, I'm lose-win. If I'm low on both, I'm lose-lose, and high on both, I'm win-win. Well, that's nothing new. That's what's in the book. But there's also some other attitudes that apply to this. There are people out there that are really high on courage. They want what they want, and they don't really think about the other side. They simply want what they want. They think win. It's not that they want to help the other people or hurt the other people. They just want what they want. Inversely, there are people who think win. It's not that they want a personal win or a personal loss. They're simply focused on other people. They want other people to win. You see this with parents with their children. You see this with people that are mentoring someone else. You see this with people who have got everything that they could possibly need, and they reach out to help others. They're at a higher level of maturity, and they'll focus there. There are also individuals that think lose. Pure vindictive. It's not about them getting a win or them taking a loss. It's about them punishing somebody else, putting them down. They're vindictive. They're harmful. There's also those that are focused on their own loss. They have a victim mentality. I'm a doormat, step on me. Now this suddenly opens up some other alternatives in this way of thinking. There are attitudes and there are outcomes. These represent attitudes. And right smack dab in the middle is a thing called compromise or draw. It's a neutral. It's just break even. Just play it safe. Well, when you look at this model, you suddenly see some interesting things. What is this? What is this? What is this? And what is this? Well, this is the ultimate epitome. This is interdependence. This is mature, healthy. It's independence. Here, dependence. And here, codependence. And of course, the images here apply beautifully here. There are levels beyond this still. There's so much to learn from this. When you understand this idea of win-win, I had the opportunity, Mike, to serve for the company as the director of the Center for Conflict Resolution. Understanding that these attitudes existed was powerful because I could recognize where people were coming from. I could communicate, empathize with them, not necessarily agree with them in any way, but empathize, and help them recognize that they had choices, help them recognize that they were in an interdependent reality and still thinking independently. They wanted what they wanted. They thought it was a game, a competition. In an interdependent reality, it doesn't make sense. If you're interdependent, my outcome is connected to your outcome. If you lose, Mike, I lose in an interdependent reality. So once I determine the nature of the reality, then I can apply the appropriate habits. If the reality is interdependent, we truly are linked to one another, then there is no other choice but win-win. When you think about, global issues like air quality, we could do every measure possible to preserve the air quality in the United States, and if other countries don't do the same, it won't matter, because they'll pollute the air. We all breathe the same air. It is an interdependent reality. We must think win-win. There's no violation of this. You have to submit. Now, if it's an independent reality, which might be the economies of each country, we're free to think win, to think proactively, to be competitive. And there's nothing wrong with that. It can actually produce great results. The question is it independent or interdependent? Once you understand that, you apply the appropriate habits. If it's interdependent, you've got to submit to the upper habits. If it's independent, you must submit to the lower. Okay? There's just so much more. So, you've read 7 Habits. That's a taste. There's so much more, Mike, to do with this. And beyond this, there are models that have nothing to do with 7 Habits. They just have to do with effectiveness. When it comes to sales, there's models, there's technique, high integrity, non-manipulative, all about helping people discover options and exercising options that are in their best interest. So, hopefully this is helpful to you. It gives you a little insight. Hopefully it gets you excited about this stuff. Mike, I need some help getting this out. Please help me. Let's get on the phone and talk, figure out a strategy that works for both of us, and produce some win-win synergistic outcome. Thanks, Mike.